Today we're going over One Piece chapter 1123 to One Piece chapter 1126. I'm giving a review of that, okay? I don't want the video to be too long, so I might summarize a few things and not go into details, but I'm gonna try to catch up with each chapter from now on. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and join the fam. Now, I'm a new channel, so I hope you guys are enjoying the videos. If you want anything changed or you want a different format, let me know. Anyway, in the latest saga of One Piece, chapters 1123 to 1126, these chapters plunge us into a milestone of chaos, secrecy, and the unyielding struggle for freedom. As the Straw Hat Pirates navigate the treacherous waters of destiny, they confront the titanic forces of the world government and the enigmatic powers of Imu. These chapters unravel the intricate web of deceit, betrayal, and the clash of wills that threatens to reshape the very fabric of the world. From the haunting echoes of Vegapunk's revelation to the spine-chilling execution of Saint Saturn, the narrative crescendos into a symphony of intrigue and defiance. Now, join me as we delve deep into the hearts of these chapters, exploring the themes of morality, the essence of power, and the unbreakable spirits that drive our heroes forward. This is a tale where every shadow hides a truth and every action ripples across the world, heralding the dawn of a new era. One Piece chapter 1123, titled The Void Fortnight, opens with the aftermath of Joyboy's Haki burst. Basically, the Haki was so strong that it knocked out everybody in the Marines, leaving the Straw Hats and the Elbaf giants to flee Egghead. There we see S-Snake. Despite her attempts to wake up the Marines, nothing is happening. Now, this moment not only highlights the immense power difference between Luffy and the Marines, but it also subtly sets up the idea that Luffy's version of Haki is not just about domination, but freedom. We see Oimo and Kashi observing the aftermath, making an important distinction between Shanks' Haki and Joyboy's. They state that Shanks' Haki is more aggressive and hostile, while Joyboy's is gentler, liberating, and inherently non-hostile. This foreshadows the role Luffy will play in the world, basically being a force that brings liberation, not just by brute force. The chapter then shifts to a flashback that reveals York's betrayal. We know that York stole the Mother Flame, or provided information that Vegapunk was researching the Void Sentry for the world government, a revelation that put Vegapunk in danger. The most interesting aspect here is how Vegapunk responds. Instead of confronting York directly, he takes a more cerebral route by putting his and the other satellites' brains into stealth mode. Now, these satellites will be Vegapunk Stella himself, we got Shaka, and Pythagoras. This move hints at Vegapunk's tendency to outthink his opponents rather than relying on force, which aligns with his character as a scientist who prioritizes knowledge over conflict. The decision to erase their own memories that York will remain unaware of their awareness of a betrayal. This move showcased Vegapunk's cunning and deep understanding of how to operate within the system that is stacked against him. Basically, he knew exactly once he saw the files and information that the Mother Flame had been tampered with. So they had to erase their memories for 2 weeks so that when they woke up from or got back from their memory wiping machine, they would see a message stating that the world government has found out and y'all are in danger. But we all know what happened. But since I don't want this video to be too long, let's move on to One Piece chapter 1124, which is titled Close Friend. This chapter opens with Vivi facing off against Big News Morgan, who, as we know, intends on sensationalizing the events of Egghead Island by falsely claiming that Luffy killed Vegapunk, and by letting the world know that Law has been defeated and Eustace Kid has been defeated as well. Yet Vivi's unyielding loyalty to Luffy is in front and center right here. Despite her precarious situation above earth or ground in Big News Morgan's ship, she risks angering Morgans to defend the truth, letting Morgans know that, fam, I do not agree with this. This is not Luffy. Stop painting my guy. Stop painting the Straw Hat Captain. Stop painting my friend as evil. Now, Morgan's, representing the media's power to manipulate perception, embodies a key theme in One Piece: the control of information and its potential to influence global events. Vivi's willingness to confront him underscores her growth as a character who isn't afraid to challenge powerful figures. And it also reinforces the theme of truth versus manipulation, which has been a recurring event in the Egghead arc. Another significant moment in this chapter is Kizaru's phone call with Sakazuki. Kizaru picks up and says, "Hey, all the Marines are knocked out, foaming in the mouth, so I had to pick up." Kizaru's typically aloof and detached demeanor cracks as he reflects on his long history with Vegapunk, whom he killed. Now, Kizaru's question to Akainu, asking if he ever killed a close friend, hints at a deeper emotional conflict Kizaru is having. He picks up the phone, and then Kizaru, I would say, Akainu is going crazy. "What are you doing? Why are you picking up the phone? You have failed on Egghead." And then you see Kizaru pick up and says, "Akainu, have you ever killed your best friend?" "Oh, that's right. That's right. You let yours escape. The dude who was one of us escaped and you didn't kill him. He's now with our foe, Blackbeard, going crazy on one of our vice admirals, Vice Admiral Garp." Like, what? Unlike Akainu, who embodies absolute justice without compromise, Kizaru seems torn between his duties and personal feelings. This moment doesn't add a layer, it adds layers to Kizaru's character, showing him as more than just a weapon of the world government. This occurrence, this action of his, watching him kill his own best friend, his friendship with Vegapunk coupled with the brutality of his mission, creates a compelling internal struggle. This hints at a potential future dissent or conflict between him and the Marines, depending on how far his emotional turmoil will take him. If he cannot let this go, and I believe he's not, we were expecting him to turn on the world government in Egghead, but I believe it is going to come after this. After his conversation with Akainu, I believe this is going to happen. This is actually going to happen. Now, the final revelation by Lilith, the other Vegapunks are still alive. Her saying that is crucial. It suggests that even in the face of death, Vegapunk has found a way to continue his consciousness through his satellites, possibly hinting at more revelations about punk records and how technology can transcend traditional definitions of life and death. This is Vegapunk we're talking about. Even though he was dead, he was not dead, right? He knew what he was going to do. He had the pieces in place to make sure once he sacrificed himself, somebody, he thought at first that Lilith, his embodiment of evil, was the traitor, but then he found that greed was the traitor instead. So I believe that everything he was doing, his conversation on the cloud with Sanji, was about him preparing the Straw Hats and everybody else in that vehicle, that I might not go, but maybe one of you can save somebody, one of the Vegapunks, and take him with them. But we know Lilith was the one who was saved, so fire. But the chapter ends with the Straw Hats sailing towards Elbaf with a cryptic line about someone waiting for them, and that is setting up an anticipation for the next arc. But that silhouette, I want to point out, some people are saying is the man marked by flames, but I believe that that was Prince Loki at that moment telling the Straw Hat, not as if, yo, I can't wait for you to get here, come. Basically, yeah, before you guys get here, have something for y'all. And I believe that that sake cup in his hand actually hints at the deeper thing that happened the recent chapter. But before we get to that, let's go on to One Piece chapter 1125, titled, "What Does Death Mean?" The theme of death and immortality takes center stage in this chapter, particularly through the fate of Saint Saturn. After a mission that acquired crucial resources, your punk records and the Mother Flame, Saint Saturn still considers it a failure due to the broadcast of Vegapunk's message. He is pissed. He succeeded, but once the message was out, he literally, nothing they did was going to be success. Once the message came out, which was what they were trying to stop, they failed. His frustration underscores the world government's desperation to maintain control over dangerous knowledge. However, Saint Saturn's downfall comes in the form of Imu's terrifying power. When we saw Saint Saturn burning up, I believe that was the scariest panel in all of One Piece so far. Imu's decision to punish Saturn for allowing Joyboy to escape marks a significant shift in the Five Elders' power dynamics. The execution, stripping Saint Saturn of his immortality, highlights Imu's absolute control over the world government and the fragility of even the most powerful figures within the system. Once Imu was shaking when Joyboy's Haki was felt, you should know that, yeah, it was either all of the Five Elders were going to pay for it, or the person who was sent on that mission mission was going to pay for it. Unfortunately, it was Saturn, but that was a cruel way to go. Now, the chapter also deepens the mystery of the Void Sentry and the ancient technologies as York realizes that the Cloud Plant has lifted Punk Records into the sky, making it unreachable. Now, in Punk Records, we see Shaka, we see Atlas, we basically see the rest of the Vegapunks killed. We saw Shaka shot in the head, we saw Atlas sacrifice herself, we saw the other part of Pythagoras, them all fusing together into one body, taking control and playing York. Vegapunk's knowledge and legacy are not easily controlled after this chapter. Despite the world government's best efforts, they may still face challenges in suppressing the truth about the past, because I believe that even though the broadcast was stopped by eliminating Emyth, the conversation between Dragon and Shaka hints at something. It could be that the conversation could continue with Dragon, which I doubt at this moment, or it could mean that once the Straw Hats go to a different arc, maybe the moon, hint hint, we might get the full story. Now let's get to One Piece chapter 1126. The chapter begins with an unexpected disappearance of the Straw Hats from the Elbaf ship, leaving everyone bewildered. The sudden vanishing creates an immediate sense of tension and raises questions about the forces at play. This event might be attributed to an external influence, possibly a new power or technology introduced in this arc, or even a trickster figure manipulating reality. The drink they're having, the Green Fairy, is said to cause hallucinations for 2 days, or y'all gonna be effed up, passed out for 2 days. That drink in this chapter draws parallels to the scene in Avengers Age of Ultron, where Thor, right, presents an Asgardian drink at a party and warns that it is not meant for mortal men, and it was brewed in something. Despite Thor's caution, Stan Lee insists on trying it, leading to a humorous aftermath where he's heavily inebriated and has to be carried out. This drink is depicted as incredibly potent, almost magical, capable of causing drastic effects on those who consume it. In One Piece, the Green Fairy drink given to the Giants and the Straw Hats could have a similar impact. It might have caused hallucinations or altered their perception, leading to their mysterious disappearance. This comparison to Thor's drink highlights its strength and possibly ordinary beverage, or something with magical or mystical properties. And this fits well within the mythological and unpredictable elements of the One Piece universe, especially if Loki is behind it, using it to manipulate events or test the crew. Why would you think I'm saying that? Last chapter, we saw a silhouette of somebody holding a sake cup saying come, right? And everybody thinks it's the man marked by flames, but I believe it's Loki on Elbaf talking to the Straw Hats, knowing exactly what he did. Now, what do you think he did exactly? Oimo and Kashi had to go to Little Garden to get their captains, basically fetch their captains who are still battling bare knuckle because their weapons are not basically functioning. So they get convinced to come to Elbaf and get new weapons. I'm assuming that while they were talking on Elbaf, conversations about the Straw Hats came up, and with the new wanted poster of Luffy being Sun God Nika. You know how ecstatic the Giants were when they saw Luffy in that form and asked them why he is in the form of their god. Perhaps, right, now here is where my Loki thing comes in. Perhaps when they got there and we're talking about the Straw Hats and them going to grab the Straw Hats and bring them to Elbaf, Loki probably felt some way. Why? Because them coming back to get their weapons was not Elbaf-like, was not Giant warrior-like. In order to make sure that everybody still had their element, he slipped something in the drinks they were going to take on their voyage to get the Straw Hats, and now everybody has to take it. Everybody drank it. Everybody is messed up. Loki comes there, grabs the Straw Hats that went to Alabasta, the Alabasta 6, and then disperses them just like Kuma did. That is what I think happened to have the Straw Hats disappear and nobody realized what happened. Why? Because Nami is not lightweight either. So it's low-key. Another fascinating thing I enjoyed in this chapter was seeing Bonnie in her original self, not having to put up fronts and act as if she was this 21-year-old or 24-year-old, whoever she is, when she's an adult. She's finally seen her father, fulfilled what her mission was, and now she's finally laying on her dad, happy, going to see the world together. Is Kuma still alive? Because how is Kuma still smiling? How is Kuma still smiling? Now let's talk about our favorite princess, Nami, or should I say Princess Shira. During this altered state or hallucination, Nami is depicted in a manner that parallels a powerful warrior princess from the 1980s animated series, Shira, the Princess of Power. power. Now, She-Ra is known for her strength, agility, and leadership, and she fights against oppression and embodies the themes of courage and justice. This reference to Nami dressing up as She-Ra could symbolize her inner power and potential for growth. We've known she's loved money and will do anything for money, but now is her time to step up and become the warrior princess that she is, because everybody in the Straw Hats needs a power-up, including Luffy himself. This could suggest that Nami might need to embrace a more heroic and empowered role, stepping up in a situation that requires her leadership and bravery. The Lego-like castle she finds herself in enhances this fantastical element, resembling She-Ra's world of magic and heroism. It indicates that Nami is about to enter a narrative arc where she has to overcome illusions or confront internal challenges, much like She-Ra in her battles against evil forces. Now, why would I say that? Nami has a sword rather than her climb attack, which she used to create illusions. Now, I believe this was a hint indirectly by Oda when the Straw Hats entered Elbaf. This might be what was going to happen. I'm not sure, okay? Oda does that. Loki's trickery and the drink's effects, the green fairy drink, might be Loki's creation, aligning with his mythological trickster nature. Just as Loki in Norse mythology is known for his deceit and manipulation, he might be using the drink to disorient or control those who consume it. This could explain the Straw Hats' altered state or hallucinations, possibly as part of a larger scheme Loki has in mind. And this aligns with the chapter's overall theme of altered reality and deception. As the Straw Hats are thrown into a situation where they must distinguish between illusions and reality, the Straw Hats' ordeal within this hallucination or altered state, the Straw Hats might be facing their own inner trials. Luffy shrinking into an older man could be a consequence of the drink or a side effect of him using Gear 5th. But I know it's a consequence of him using Gear 5th because he's literally shrank every time he's used it. This imagery could symbolize the cost of wielding such immense power, showing that even someone as powerful as Luffy has limits and vulnerabilities. The crew's individual experiences under the influence of this drink might explore their deepest fears, desires, or struggles, adding depth to their characters. Now, we know for Usopp, he has to be the bravest warrior ever, the bravest warrior of the sea. So that is one of them. Next, let's see the themes and symbolisms in this chapter. We have the manipulation of reality with the green fairy drink and the surreal environment, including Nami's She-Ra-like appearance, which points to the themes of illusions and perception. Loki's potential involvement reinforces the idea of reality being malleable and subject to manipulation. Next is the power and consequences of everybody. Luffy's transformation might signify the physical and mental toll that using immense power can have, paralleling Thor's warning about the Asgardian drink being too much for mere mortals. 3. Heroic growth. Nami's resemblance to Princess She-Ra suggests her upcoming growth and possible rise to a leadership role. It foreshadows her need to harness her inner strength and courage to guide the crew through this uncertain terrain. Chapter 1126 intricately weaves mythological references and psychological elements, creating a narrative that is both mystifying and insightful. Reminiscence of Thor's potent Asgardian beverage introduces a sense of altered reality and potential trickery, possibly orchestrated by Loki. Meanwhile, Nami's portrayal as Princess She-Ra indicates her potential transformation into a more empowered figure, aligning with the overarching themes of growth, strength, and leadership within the Straw Hats. She already has Zeus, a soul of Big Mom. She has to step up, and I believe this is what it is. And this chapter also serves as a bridge to deeper complexities within the One Piece world, where reality can be distorted. Power comes at a cost, and the true nature of individuals is tested in unexpected ways. It sets the stage for the Straw Hats to confront not only external threats, but also the inner challenges that defines them.